So this is going to be the first of 3 AFK money making videos, which we're going to be doing for this month. Maybe crossing over to November, but I'm going to try and time in while I'm away in Greece. So for this video, the reason why I've sort of split it into 3 and sort of grouped them together is because when I was going through sort of the ideas to do for this month's money making video, there was kind of too many which were doing quite well. So what I thought is break them down to 3, tie in 3 to 4 money making methods per video, and in that way the video is not too long. And also we can make sure we can go into details on the money making methods as well. So this one is going to be based around fletching and how fletching can bring you in some GP. Now, if you're brand new to the channel, we do plenty of money making videos throughout the month. Loads of different series and loads of different sort of variety as well to be able to show you all the concepts of RuneScape 3. If you are brand new and if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and you'll be able to see all the videos we do. We are currently managing to do 7 a week. And if you are subscribed already and you can like the video, that really does help me out. It really helps me to be seen by a lot more people. It just helps the channel grow, so thank you guys so much for that. So before we get started, we're going to be using sort of the standard fletching setup. And to be fair, it's a very similar setup to like crafting, smithing and herb lore, where we're going to utilize items as best we can to make sure we can get multiples and extra items, because nowadays, rather than making money making the actual item, it's what you save and create extra, which is where you're going to get your main source of profit. So this is why I've kind of grouped all the fletching ones together, because I think it'd be a lot better if they're all in one video. So the methods we're going to go over today is Onyx bolts, hydrix bolts, and also making the dino arrows, headless dino arrows, but also as well making elder headless arrows. Now I know that elder logs aren't in the info, but I'll show you when we get through there as well. Now, to do this, the info and items we're going to go for, we're going for a Brooch of the Gods, which I know is a little bit expensive in terms of its initial output. But if you do enough of a fletching skill, herb lore skill, crafting, where it's going to thrive and where it's going to proc the most, you will earn this money back quite considerably over time, especially if you're looking to go for the 120 skills. It is a massive outlay to start with, I will give you that, but again, it is very much worthwhile and you see the effects during the video. Fletching cape, again, 99 cape will be good enough and that will give you the ability to get some extra ammo. We are going for the Ranger's Workroom 2, which will give you the ability to create extra ammo. And we're going to be fletching on a portable fletcher, which is going to proc and give us extra ammo as well. All of these buffs are going to combine and give us a chance to make extra ammunition, which is where you're going to make the bulk of the profit. Now, where we're going to start with first, we're going to start off on the 2 bolts and then we'll do the arrows afterwards. So really weird, it won't give me the option to fletch the bolt tips through the fletcher. But I've just tested it here. The Brooch of God and the portable fletcher will save us the resources as well, which was my main worry really, because with especially with the Onyx and the hydrix, that's what's going to make you your X profits. So the good thing with the bolts is that you're going to be able to do 60 of each in one big go, which is going to give you roughly about a 2-minute AFK cycle, which is pretty good. Again, there are some methods which are way better in terms of how much AFK you're going to get, but in terms of like an AFK where you can just pay attention and just fletch them, it's pretty good. And currently Onyx bolts are sort of moving quite sharply around sort of like profit per hour. Sometimes it's 10 mil, sometimes I've seen up to 14 mil profit per hour doing Onyx bolts. Good thing is though, you don't need a massive fletching level to be able to do this. It's 73 fletching to get started. Obviously, if you're only going to do it level 73, you're going to miss the chance for Fletcher's Cape. But if you have the Fletcher, Brooch of the Gods, and the Ranger's Workroom, you could still pull quite a substantial amount of extra bolts per hour. And that is basically with the Onyx and the Hydrix bolts. You're looking at how many bolts you're saving or how many extra ammo you're going to be making, which is going to be your main source of profit. But yeah, these two are pretty nice in AFK. These are very good ones to buy over time. If you can save a little bit of GP on the bolt tips, and the rune bolts, which seem to be quite hard to buy at the minute as well, that's where you're going to make a little bit more profit. Don't have to instant buy everything. You can just take your time, buy it over time, buy a big bulk, and then fletch them and then sell them in the meantime. Other things you can do with both these bolts though, I thought I may as well throw it out, and they are pretty AFK, is to enchant them and turn them into the E version of the bolts, because that will give you some more GP. This is a very good way as well if you're going to buy a decent sort of stock of them. If you throw them into your auto alka, it's very good for alks. You'll probably be pulling like 2 to 3k profit per alk, which is very good in the grand scheme of things as well. Probably outperforms quite a lot, but again, that's because you're going to be fletching them and saving yourself a bit of a price as well. And your profit will be tied into what you're going to alk. But as you can see, in terms of speed, very quick. The Ascension bolts, which are now a little bit cheaper. They are still pretty steep at 3.8k, but the Hydrix bolts have sort of come down with that as well. So you are still going to make profit just fletching these normally. But again, it's the extras which are really going to bring you the profit. So from our little sample, we've only made 1,000 Onyx bolts. but we're going to get about 170 extra bolts from that. So the Onyx one's pretty much working the same way. You just click the tip and you're going to be able to do a minute and 45 seconds of just sort of AFK away from just sort of AFK XP. Now again, these go hand in hand with Onyx. They're very similar, but I wanted to show you both because both can work. It just means that if you want to put a big order in, split it between the two because you can get a little bit more XP with the Sentry bolts, but also with the Onyx bolts you can kind of escape that limits because they're both going to be making roughly the same GP. I believe at the minute, Sentry bolts are a little bit less than Onyx bolts and just over 9 mil per hour. But again, like they will go up and down with time as well. Also, a very good option to throw in your Alka if you are looking to do that as an option as well. So moving quickly on, we can actually use the portable fletch for this. So the first one is making headless dino arrows. Now to do this, you're going to need tempered fungal shafts, which to be fair on organic change are quite cheap to buy. They're not too bad at all, which are 171 GP each, and then also the dinosaur propellants, which is about 870 to 900 coins each. And although you're going to get a smaller option on the bar, this is going to be 20 options per go, I think, but it might be a bit limited because of how many propellants I've got. So fletching the headless dino arrows, you're still going to get that option of 60 a go, so again, very AFK, but it seems to do them a bit quicker than tipping the bolt. So you're only going to get about a minute of sort of fletching time. Again, maybe not what some people would call AFK, but I'm not fully paying attention. I've got a minute to go and like look away from the screen, and if it takes you a little bit longer to come back, then yeah, so be it. Now the good thing with headless dino arrows is it is about 12 mil profit per hour. Again, a little bit higher on the requirements. The 2 bolts are quite low. Again, level 73 for the Onyx bolts, and I believe the Sentry bolts are looking around level 80 fletching, so nothing too high. But dino arrows, you're going to be looking more around level 95 for that, so maybe you can use the bolts to work your way up and then go and use dino arrows there. But dino arrows are currently pulling in 13.7 mil profit, and as you can see, a very low effort thing you can do. Now, rather than clicking on the portable fletcher, you can actually put the tempered fungal shafts onto your bar, just so you can associate it to a number on your keyboard, and you can just click that rather than having to go to the fletcher back and forth. But again, headless dino arrow is very good, still underrated. We did a video about them a couple of months ago, and they're still performing very strong. And to be fair, the bolts are very up and down. The Onyx and the hydrix are very, very up and down, whereas the dino arrow seems to be performing very, very solidly and very well. So that is also a very good option for you to look at as well. Now the final option is one which I don't think I've seen in many videos, but it's always sort of listed on the wiki as a decent way to make some profit, and that is Elder Headless Arrows. Now to do this, we just go and fletch on the fletcher, and we go for the Elder Arrow shafts. So that is what we're going to make, and then also after we've made these, again, they're going to be partially AFK, not fully AFK, but as you can see, 28 is going to take roughly about 45 seconds to make. These are going to create the Elder Arrow shafts, and then again, with the combination of all of our fletching setup and the portable fletcher as well, that's what's going to create extra arrows, which is what we're looking for. Now, Elder Headless Arrows have kind of crept up in price a little bit. They're currently at a price of, they're making 6.3 mil per hour at 90 fletching, which when you compare them to the methods here, are obviously like nothing massively to compare about. But it's another viable option for you to use fletching as a form of AFK skill. Maybe you want to make your own like Elder Headless Arrows. Again, there's just different varieties of doing things, and there's different things you can try and test as well. There might be the case that Elder Headless Arrows will outperform all 3 because they can go low volume, and maybe they might stick out for a different reason as well. But there will be a demand on these. I'm not quite sure what they're used for, but there will be demands for it as well. But I just wanted to include it as an option as well, just because of all the other methods. And this was a fletching method, which is still pulling in a decent amount of G. 6.3 mil is really like nothing to shake your head at. It's a very good profit per hour, but it's just been outperformed by the other 3. But I wanted to give it there as a viable option for the video, just in case as well. However, that's going to be the end of this video. 4 fletching methods, which aren't going to be like the fully fledged AFK on some of the other videos, but I think as a combination, fletching is a money-making method which can pump out the GP without having to pay attention to every single tick. It's a very relaxed sort of method where you can just sit and just like pay attention to the screen every couple of minutes. And I think it's one, if you do have the ability to do it, use it to make GP all the way up to 200 mil. Now, once again, it's highlighted the brooch. If you don't have a brooch, it's something I would seriously recommend that you consider. It does sort of stand out with methods like this where it will be the reason you're generating the extra GP. But that's going to be the end of this video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.